Hi, this is Gary Rosenzweig with the GameScene podcast. Today we're going to take a look at a GameScene game called Add It Up. So Add It Up is a numbers game. When you go into it, you get presented with a grid of numbers and a large number to the right. The object of the game is to find a combination of numbers here that add up to this big number. So for instance, for 9 we can do a 4 and a 5, or 3 threes, or a bunch of 2s and a 1. Anything you can get to equal to 9, or you can simply press 9. Let's do like a 6 and a 3. And what we'll get here is we're going to get the number of points that are in this time bonus. So as time goes on, you take time to decide what numbers to choose, you're going to get less and less points. In addition, you're also going to get a multiplier based on how many numbers you use to add up to the one big number. So adding a bunch of 1s is a lot better than adding, say, 2 very large numbers. So let me quickly go ahead. I'll choose an 8 and 9 for this one. And the next number, I'll choose a bunch of 2s. And the score I'm going to get is multiplied, the time bonus is multiplied by the number of squares that I pulled out. Now, you want to be quick, you want to choose as many numbers as possible, but you also want to be careful, because as soon as you get a number here that you cannot possibly make with a combination of numbers here, the game ends. So for a number like 16, it's not really a big deal. I can go and choose 6, 9, and 1 right here. But for a smaller number, like a 1 for instance, if I didn't have any 1s on the board, there'd be no way to add up to 1, so the game would be over. So I want to be careful and use my low numbers kind of sparingly. Make sure I leave enough on the board to handle some low numbers that might appear here, so the game doesn't end early. Because what's going to happen when the game is over is you're going to end up with a bunch of spots that are going to subtract from your score. So I'm going to use a bunch of 1s here and try to use up as many 1s as I can. And there I used up, added up to 12, and it clears all my numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and do that without clearing all those numbers. There we go. So I've used up all the 1s. And now I want to continue to go and use up, oh, there's a 1 I missed. And let me go ahead and use up as many 2s as I can. Eventually I'm going to get to a point where the game has to end. Yep. There we go. So use up some 3s here, use up some 2s. I'm just going to keep going, and by playing the strategy of always picking the lowest numbers, I'm very quickly going to go ahead and run out of possibilities. So now it's going to be really hard for me to continue with the game. There we go. So I got a 2, and there was no possible numbers that I can use to add up to a 2. I'm going to get minus 500 for every block I didn't fill in, which is going to more than negate my entire score. So it was a really poor strategy to play. And you want to make sure that you kind of play a strategy and you play fast. This game was created around 2000, 2001. The original programming was done by Kenny Kaplan, who was a game programmer that worked at Clever Media about that time, and a student at the University of Denver. And the game design was an original game designed by me. I was just playing around with the idea of adding numbers together to equal another number, and that way you put that in a grid. Originally, there was a very different looking game. It was green, and the numbers looked very different, and it was it kind of didn't hold up over time, and we adopted this blue look somewhere around 2003, 2004, updated it. At the same time around then, we actually adapted this game for a number of different skill-based websites. This game, since it's a lot of strategy in it, is good for skill-based websites. So we licensed it out like 3 or 4 times to different people. So that's a quick look at Add It Up. You can find it, like all the games, at GameScene.com.